Hello, welcome everybody to Free Spirit Radio today. I am really excited about our guest, Miss Lana Schafer. If you don't know her, you definitely should, and you will now, so follow her. She is, I'm just going to call her the manifesting queen. Everybody is a queen to me, but she has such an amazing way of showing up in the world, embodying her message, and really being an example for what is possible. So Lana, welcome. I'm so excited to dive in with you. Let's get your video going.
Yay! I'm
Okay.
live!
Yay.
I'm
Here
so
we
thrilled to be
are.
here.
Yay. I'm so excited. So I like to start with a certain question because I feel like it's so relevant for people who are watching, and you have so many followers online who love everything you do. And I'm just
I
kind of
call
wondering,
I call them my leaders.
your leaders.
Leader among leaders
You
and a
are a
master
leader.
among masters. Yes.
You are, and you're amazing at it. And I just wonder, like, it's so easy for me and for anybody else to be like, that looks so easy. Like, she just, of course, she's always been doing that. But what I want to know, and I bet everyone else does, like, was there a time that you really transformed into who you are now? Or was it like, what was your process in showing up in a bigger way in the world?
Well, wait till I finish my first book, then
Okay.
you'll have
No, you have
16
to tell us
chapters of
that.
that. No, of course not. I don't actually know anybody who is really successful that is truly an overnight success. I think Gary Vee says that it takes 10 years to become
Yeah.
an overnight success type of thing. So, I had a lot of challenges in my life and a lot of insecurities and a lot of pain. I grew up in Russia. I came to the US when I was 12. I was an immigrant. I spent like the whole of eighth grade eating lunch alone, being made fun by other kids. It was a very intensely miserable experience. Besides that, our later on in life, there was just a lot of discomfort with myself, lack of knowing what makes me happy, feeling extremely unhappy and unsatisfied, even though I had outer success, which
Mm.
took me a lot of like strife and toil to create that. But it did not make me happy on the inside. And then I felt really depressed and suicidal at times. And it really wasn't until my mid 20s when I decided to walk away from corporate career and say, well, okay, if I really don't feel like living, let's at least see what does make me happy. And so I've been on a whatever 12 plus year journey now of really discovering who am I outside of the labels, outside of these identities that I took on. Who am I without the successes that I
Yeah.
thought like defined me? And what actually gives me meaning? What gives me life? And so, I studied yoga and taught yoga and ran teacher trainings, did personal training. I worked as a success coach with university students and a project manager at a nonprofit. I went to grad school for
Mm.
transpersonal psychology. I had all of these experiences, but I feel like really one of the like there's certain point there's no like bright light and harps and like
Yeah.
you're now you are now.
You have become.
Yeah, but there are some defining moments that mark kind of
Mm.
big chapters in my life.
Yeah.
And I feel like where this version of me was really starting to come out was when I gave birth to my twins at home, and they were born 33 hours apart. It was a 6 day like birthing process. And before that, just to get ready for that, it's like where the tire hit the road for me. Never had it mattered before to me to really be present in myself, to be empowered, to deliberately create the
Wow.
kind of birth that I wanted, which was I felt safer at home than in a hospital. So I wanted to, more than any kind of outcome, really create a sacred and like amazing experience bonding with my husband and just the whole magic of it. And that's when I feel like I prepped in a way that now I teach for people to prep, because it never mattered quite as much to me. I mean, it literally was life and death. There's
Mm.
so much higher of a chance of a twin, one of the twins not having complications than it would be of a single baby. So just from the get-go, I felt like I had to find a way to what I used to call get full of myself. Now I call it master your life, right?
Mm.
And once I was able to do that in one area of my life, what I'm really good at is seeing how to then take that template and put it on other
Mm.
areas. So yeah, at this point, I really feel amazing in every area of my life, from my health to my finances to my marriage to my kids to my business. But it wasn't always the case. And I am a living, breathing, as my friend Sarah likes to call it, success mess. There's still tons of messiness, tons of opportunities for growth. I'm always really open about that, like you are. And I feel like that's when I get to be fully human and fully divine. And it's okay to be both.
Totally. I love that so much. And I love how you just talked about the different areas and how you take what you called it a success template, or the template that you use in every area. And do you feel like there's one area for you that's constantly the one you have to keep working at, or is it kind of all of them?
Well, I went through so many years of binge eating and like body dysmorphia that for the longest time, I was hoping that I could just be like somewhat at peace in my body, somewhat okay, like eating a meal and not be thinking 10,000 thoughts about every bite. And so it's really miraculous to me. And I don't take it for granted at all that we talked about this before the call. Like that's maybe one of the biggest miracles, that I didn't feel peaceful within myself or self-loving. And it manifested in all of these ways. And I worked so hard to change the ways, but when I worked at the root level, feeling worthy, feeling deserving, feeling self-loving, and allowing pleasure into my life, which has a lot to do with self-worth. Now I can't even tell you what I ate yesterday. I can hardly remember. Like and my working out and everything, there's just so much ease and joy around it. But the areas that I find are opportunities for me is I'm trying to figure out how to say it, because there's different things mean to different people. My theme for this year is co-creation. And my birth, I have a 1-year-old as well as my twins, and my birth with him was an unassisted birth. So I didn't have a midwife, I didn't have a doula. But what happened was that it got so uncomfortable that I ended up calling one of my best friends who's had 2 kids at home, and she really birthed for me almost. I don't know how else to describe that. It was such a incredibly vulnerable experience. I felt like I broke. I have never in my life gotten to a place where I've completely given up. Like I wanted to die. It was the most painful birth out of all the 3 births. It was so intense. I gave from the labor starting till the time I was holding my baby in my hands was less than 7 hours. It was like super intense, like bam. And so for me, that experience was allowing someone to literally breathe for me. It felt like birth for me, uphold me. And that has led to so much opening in my business. How do I let my team support me in this way? I had this big revelation last year, feeling like people talk, the business is your baby. You're always taking care of it. And I used to say that all the time. I love my business so much. It's my baby, until I realized, wait a minute, this baby's growing up. This baby can take care of me. What will it feel like if this business takes care of me? I feel nurtured and supported and loved by my business. What if I feel nurtured and supported by my finances, instead of me feeling like I got to take care of my money? So it's I feel like the edge for me, the growth edge, is how much can I allow for this to be a co-creation between non-physical support in me, but also lots of physical people. And there's still a lot of growth. And I'm in the middle of putting together this challenge that we'll talk about, and the launch that happens around it. And there have been so many moments when I just wanted to like get all tight about it. Like, I can't let this go. No, this is mine. You can't have it. There's just like such defensiveness, because so much of my life, I have defended my independence. And so now it's to really recognize it's so normalized. I don't need to defend it, and I can be truly interdependent. So.
Wow. Yeah. And that's coming up, I'm guessing, in all the areas, right?
All the areas.
You were mentioning that you're getting up early to work out, excuse me, and take that time for yourself. And yet then you need to ask your husband to be with the kids, right? And so I feel like that edge, we all have that as women. And as women are rising into these CEO positions, into our full power, that looks like, of course, we're still the nurturers. Of course, we're still good mothers, just because we also, created a baby that's a business, and then we allow it to grow up. I love that. So I feel like it is that for so many women, we need to learn how to ask for help and allow ourselves to be that valuable, right? That I'm valuable enough to allow help into my life. And so I feel like that is just so huge. And
well, and this is why my theme is co-creation instead of help, because I feel like the more that I would not want to co-create with people who are not feeling like they are winning in that equation.
yes,
Like my friend who ended up delivering the baby with me was so honored to be a part of the process. Heck, I would be honored. If you
yes,
called me up and said, Lana, can you come and be there for my birth? Are you kidding? I can't think of a higher honor. I would be
yes.
so joyously. So I always like to say when both people or both parties feel like it's a win-win, that's co-creation. It's like
I love it.
the people on my team, I have selected some community managers that are representing my program in me. There's 6 of them. I've never had that many during this challenge and this launch. And they keep writing to me saying, thank you so much for choosing me. And I'm like, are you kidding? Thank you for saying yes. It's like, who's winning here?
Yeah.
That's co-creation. That's that. But I feel like there's been a lot of work for me to
Yes.
get to this point. And I did manifest a lot of contrasting experience, having somebody work on my team that I feel like is killing themselves to do it and is not enjoying the process and is then bitter or resentful. Like there've definitely been those lessons there, but each one
Yeah.
of them was there to just shine light on my own resistance that I had because I was manifesting that experience with that person. So it was
Yeah.
my own work that I always go back to. But there's nothing better. It's like I love analogies to sex for everything, right? Because it's like the
Bring it on.
one thing that in our society we truly like associate with pleasure and like really allowing, right?
Right.
And so it's like when you're making love to someone, it's like who's winning there? Who's getting the better end of the stick? It's like the more
Hopefully both.
pleasure you experience, the more pleasure they experience, and and no, and it's like
Yes.
you spiral each other higher.
Yes.
That's the kind of interaction and experience I want to be having in any area of my life.
I love it so much. And don't you feel like, I feel like one of the superpowers you have, at least from my point of view, is that you show up and you fully own your space. And not just in the room. In fact, we've never been in a room actually together, right? But we're kind of in the room right now. But
we're gonna need a big room, Jaya.
We're in the big room. We're gonna need a big room. But will we? See, that's the thing, is that I feel like it is this magic of it is a win-win. When you show up in your power, you show someone else how to show up in their power. And it isn't, and yet I do see so much resistance for women in particular claiming that space. And I feel like you do that so beautifully, but I think you really just explained why. I mean, you're welcome to explain more about that if you resonate with what I'm saying, but the way that you just talked about a win-win is that it doesn't take away from someone else when you shine brighter.
No, it only adds. That's why it is co-creation, right? So I feel like there's certain gifts that I was truly born with that everybody has their own gifts. So I felt like I came in highly, I don't know if a big personality is a good way to describe it, but my mom says that my first words were myself. I was highly independent and I knew what I wanted, but it was so painful that it almost killed me. For most of my life, I felt so inadequate that I was too big, to this, to that, especially coming from a very outspoken Russian culture to California, where people are very
Yeah.
nicey to your face. And being a teenager, I literally felt like a bull in a china shop. Nobody understood me. I wanted to hide, but it's like a bull trying to hide. I was not good at hiding, but it was this complete like war within myself. And
Wow.
so until it was necessary for me to own my bigness because it was so natural to like me as a child. Like my mom said, when we stand in like those long queues for bread and for things in Russia, she's like, you would entertain the people. You would sing songs. Like I had this like natural, hey, like look at me, I'm performing and like wanting to make people smile and brighten their day. But for a long time, that was so suppressed, and I felt like, why was I born this way? I don't understand it. I wish I could just be normal, all of these things. So
Wow.
it took me really, I don't know, it's like embracing the light and the dark.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great things about the fact that I'm super passionate and super outspoken. But my husband and my kids and anyone else around me, like my personal assistant and nanny, she can tell you, like, I'm as intense in my rage as I am in my happiness. So it's like, fuck, like I am as
Yeah.
passionate about that. And it took me a long time to not be ashamed of it, to feel
Wow.
like this completely negates all of my good traits because I have this strong emotional reaction. And also there's this association of the wild woman,
Yeah.
like, and I really had that in my childhood, that play out where my mom was very attuned and very passionate and very wild, and my dad was not. And they really judged one another. And so I have this judgment within myself.
Mm.
And so it's been years of therapy and healing and in loving those parts of me that have matured them to a way where now I can just show up and be. There are lots of live videos that I do in my Master Life Academy where I show up because we have a call and I'm not in alignment and I realign real time. And the participants always tell me, like, that's so like empowering for them and so healing that they don't have to be perfect to have
Yeah.
this amazing life. And what is perfection anyway?
Yes. I love it so much. You just said something about, you said own your bigness. And I was like, oh, I need to write that down, because I do feel like, you're just speaking your truth about who you were, and the way you show up is a pure representation of who you naturally are, and also the work you've done on allowing yourself to be that person. Right.
And it also means that I, like, if somebody doesn't like it, I'm not taking that personally.
Yes.
That was in the
That's
beginning of my business. That was a huge one. I would write a blog
yes.
post. Somebody would say something, oh my God, they don't like me.
Yes.
It felt so personal. Now I realize it's okay if you don't agree.
Yes.
It's all right. Like, I'm not trying to convince the whole world of something. I'm not like trying to sell something to someone. I'm just offering what I know. And those that resonate, it's like I always say, bees to honey or bees to a flower. They just can't help it because it's the right thing for them. And anybody else, there's lots of other flowers. Go over there.
No, it's so true. And that's a huge reason I think people stay small, is because of that fear of being disapproval. And what's so funny is right before we got on, I just saw a little message ding from YouTube on one of my videos on YouTube. Someone said, I love you so much, but I'm steering clear of cursing, so I can't watch you again.
Well, fuck. Is what I say to that.
I thought it was so funny.
We're talking about this, but so I came downstairs the other day and I was upset about something and I swore, and my kids were there and the nanny / personal assistant was there. And then we had this amazing conversation with her about the fact that I don't have to swear. Obviously, I could clean up my act. Also, swear words in English are so not strong, like compared to Russian.
Oh God, let's go with some Russian swear words.
But you know what I mean? Like, so they're like really offensive. The swear words in English are like milder / expressive / entertaining.
Yeah.
So I do feel like there's a difference.
Like, this ain't nothing.
So what we were talking about is, listen, my kids have a model for expressing anger. Now, they also see me working through it, or not even anger, just any emotion. Like, they don't just see me in like this narrow emotional space, and then when I'm upset or whatever, I gotta hide that from my kids. My husband and I can't talk about that, because what happens when you grow up like that is that you think there's something wrong with you if you feel frustrated, depressed, powerless, angry. And it's like, no. So can I clean up my language? Yeah, but I also don't think that that's such a big deal. Am I happy that I feel like it allows me to release energy and express myself? I also release energy physically. Like, there's been studies done that in the wild, if an animal goes through trauma, they actually shake. And they will roar, like, rah! So swearing is my like roaring and shaking, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to keep that trauma in my body. And trauma is a big word here, but little tiny traumas, resistance, things that didn't go right. I'm not keeping them. I'm allowing them to move through me so that they can move on. And there's a lot of value in that. So yeah, I mean, you don't like my language, that's all right too. We don't have to like the same thing. You can go listen to other people who
exactly
more proper.
So just to be clear, you will watch one of my YouTube videos. It does not offend you. I'm not even mad in the videos, but I I think the fuck question mark is a perfectly fine sentence. Like, I think that's like the best question around. Really?
But again, I feel like, everyone has entitled to their opinion. It's so interesting to me when people will write something, they'll be like, I don't like this. And my real response is, thank you. And hey, this says more about you than it does about me. So, enjoy that.
So you're welcome.
So there are times when it actually is valuable to me. I'm like, yeah, I could clean this up, or I could, like something that's really useful, I appreciate. But it's up to me to say, do I take this or do I not? And
yes, I love that. So let's talk about social media for a second, because your business is 100% online.
I mean, I do some live events, way less in the last 2 years since I had the baby. But yeah, I was doing some live events before then, but mostly online.
Yeah. So you use social media I mean, I know why I use social media, but I'm curious, like, why do you use it? Like, how does it enhance to connect? Yeah, exactly. Me too. So do you get haters?
I don't know is the short answer. I block people that I don't feel resonate with me. I wouldn't call them haters. I just think they're not quite the right match to me.
Yeah.
My team handles all my emails. That's something I let go, thank God, a couple of years ago. So I don't get any of the emails that are like, I don't know what people say actually, but if they're unhappy with something. So I don't know. I also think it's important. I don't like calling them haters. I think that bothers me a little bit. I feel like it's like, first of all, if I see that comment and it bothers me, that's a message for me. If I have a strong emotional response, that's a gift to me. But I feel like they're just people who in some way are out of alignment, and they are bleeding that all over social media. They're in pain. Otherwise, they wouldn't be saying mean things to anyone or themselves. So I like to approach it with compassion, but I am very fast with my block button, just because ain't nobody got time for that.
Exactly. No, I love that too. And I hear you on the haters. I guess it's just the best way to describe, because there's I call it like icky or mucky energy. Like it feels like I'm just like, that's sticky and I can't. But for example, today there was a comment, something about, messenger bots are a new thing. And I'm like really excited about them. But someone commented how it was blah, blah, blah. And I was like, really? I love mine. And then someone commented back to me something about something to the effect of it's lazy. And I was like, this is so fascinating, because all I did was watch my own reaction. I was like, how do I feel about her saying that? And I was like, that means nothing to me. And I was like, yay.
You know what? I fully own the word lazy or lucky, because lazy in my own mind, nobody actually calls me lazy, but like people will say lucky all the time. And I used to be like, oh, if only you knew where I grew up and how poor I was. And now I'm like, thank you. And if you care to create your own luck, here's how. It's like, if people just want to dismiss it, that's fine. It's I think that this is the beauty of social media, is that you can connect with so many people in a meaningful way if you choose to use it at one time. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's amazing. Like that's unprecedented in this world. Besides telepathy, there's no other way that I know. So I'm just so grateful for social media. I'm also not reliant or attached to it. I take breaks when I want. It's very important for me to show up when I want to show up, and I don't make it a task.
Yes.
I just feel like it's ineffective in that way. So, I feel like it's just allowing yourself to enjoy the connections, and those connections that you don't enjoy, you just look the other way, and, turn the other cheek and go and do something else.
Yes. I call it block and bless.
Well, and I also think it's kind of funny, because you might get 99 emails or whatever. I do have a love notes folder that my team saves, and I like hundreds of emails in there to go and look through. And once in a while, when I'm in that inbox, I will look through all the thank yous that people said, all the appreciation. Those are the ones I focus on. Those are the ones I save and like respond to and celebrate.
Oh, I just love it. You are so amazing. You're such a gift to us in the world. So we, at this portion of the show, we invite somebody to come on with us and just ask a question or maybe
Oh,
get
cool.
hot seat coaching. And so are you open for that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so somebody that's on in attendance, please raise your hand if you'd like to come on with me and Lana, and I will put you on video. Andrea, woo! It's so cool. I got the hand up. That was great. I'm going to promote you to a panelist, and then I think that you will be able to hop on video. Let me know. It says Erica. Is that you? Is that, hopefully that's you. Let's get you on here. This always, okay, here we go. Ask to start video, and we're going to unmute you.
All right.
Hi. Hi. I must have accidentally raised my hand or hit the raise hand button. I was walking into Target, and then all of a sudden it's all ding. I'm like, oh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Andrea wanted to do it. I'll promote her. It's lovely to see you. I was like, Erica. Hi. All right. So let's have a lovely time in Target. I'm really glad you're listening to us. Spread some light. So it's okay because I'll just have Andrea ask to hop on. So we'll have Andrea.
Okay. All right. No problem. Thank you.
Okay, doll. Have a good
Okay. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Yay, we did it. Andrea, hi.
Hello.
Hello, Andrea.
Hey. All right. So this has been awesome. I feel totally empowered just listening to what you say.
Awesome.
When you talk about the trauma releasing exercises,
Yeah,
that's what I teach. So
oh,
that's part of what I
beautiful.
teach. Yeah. So I was like, oh, hell yeah. I feel like I need to do it right now.
Do you do it like professionally, like EMDR? Do you what?
No, well, I'm a registered nurse and
Oh, okay.
a Reiki master teacher and a holistic nutritionist. That's where I use, and a yoga instructor. But that's where I use it in the holistic nutrition part. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. So do you have a specific something you're working around or a question you wanted to ask?
Well, I tell you, I'm just like coming onto the online space. So, or trying to figure out like the strategy behind it because there's so much content in me. I think that I'm getting blocked. Like, holy shit, like I have so much to share. Where do I start? So I think it's.
You start with one thing, and then you do the next, and then you do the next, and then you do the next.
It's
and
so simple, right?
You'll be sitting on a panel 6 years later. People are like, "How did you do it?" I don't know. I just like put one foot in front of the other, and I was like, "Well, I like video better than writing. Let me do more video. Oh, this is great. Oh, look, there's new technology. Do you know what I mean?"
Right.
It's like,
yeah. And that's one thing. I'm glad that you're saying that because Jaya, I know that you're big on the live video. Well, I did step out and did a live video and actually made it to, I was accepted to talk in Nice, France with the expansion project. And I'm like, oh my God. So that's huge. Like I left my nursing career for all of this. So I gave up everything to gain so much, I don't want to make it sound like it was negative because it's been amazing. But yeah, it's just the strategy behind the content. So I think that I need to just really focus. I feel like there's a block. Like I'm like, oh my God, how do
I'll jump in, and I'm a straight shooter, and I don't know you very well, but I hope you will take what you need and want, and then release the rest, right?
Okay.
When people talk about I need strategy and I need I don't know what I want, and it's like a coverall word for direction and clarity and specific tools and software and a plan and a timeline and an editorial calendar. The truth is, I don't think you can premeditate that. Just again, go back to analogy of sex. You show up, you are making out with someone and it feels good. You don't think, okay, let me put my hand here and let me do that. And now you do this. And that will just take away the joy of the whole
thing. Robotic.
That
seems robotic to me. Okay.
So I feel like it's allowing yourself to discover. Now, can you read books on sex? Can you, I don't know, do courses on it? Can you explore different ways that make you feel better? Absolutely. Can you educate yourself? But I really feel like it's ultimately taking all of that in and seeing what is relevant for me today and tomorrow, and surrounding yourself with people who you feel do inspire you in some way or resonate in some way. But I really just think, how do you like bake a cake? Well, you get all the ingredients, you do it one at a time, you mix it together, you bake it, you taste it, then you might want to adjust something next time. You just can't get to this most perfect outcome straight out the gate, nor would you want to, because the joy is in the learning. The whole process of discovery is less about the tools and more about who you become. And I feel like that's, if you're not enjoying the journey, I promise you, you will not enjoy the destination.
Yeah. And I am enjoying the journey, but I'm getting like stuck, like in the, oh my God, I am getting stuck in the, what do I do next? Like I keep hearing the word ClickFunnels and I'm like, what the fuck is that?
Well, but then just go and do some research and look into it. And this is where I feel like there's a huge advantage that I have, because what I am an entrepreneur about is actually what I consume myself. my number one student of my own teachings.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, if I, having the incredible lifelong pattern at this point, connecting with my intuition, being in my body, prioritizing my alignment. If I sometimes struggle with that in the middle of the entrepreneurial journey, I can't imagine somebody who doesn't have that as their main content focus. But I feel like unless you are able to be within yourself and connect with your own intuition and your own clarity, nobody can give that to you. Can somebody come in then? And it's almost like setting the tone. This is the way I think about it. If I'm wanting to create a business, think of it as having a whole symphony that you want to play. Well, if you're the conductor, you're going to need to set the tone. We're playing this piece, guys. Here's the notes to everyone. And you are listening. Does this player here playing in tune with the other instruments? Only you can hear the symphony in your mind. So nobody else can tell you, is this relevant or resonant, or is this out of tune with you? You have to have the ability to develop that, which is why I've created all my programs. And I have probably about half of the people in my programs are entrepreneurs, because they are wanting that piece for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that has to be the foundation, is the self-awareness, the ability to connect to inner guidance. And then you can layer all of these tools and strategies and learnings on top of that. And you'll be able to self-direct. You know what your target is. You know if this is relevant or resonant with that target. And then you can just adjust as you go along. But until that is just a bunch of different music notes that you're hearing, it probably sounds like a cacophony, like just a bunch of noise.
It does. It does. And I'm like, and I'll ground myself. I'm sorry, Jaya.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
I was saying I will ground myself, and I'll get the clarity about things, because I also practice stone medicine. And I know people are like, what is stone medicine? You know? But that's what lights me up like the most. So, and I think I have some fear around being seen with that and being judged with that.
Jaya,
and I just need to get over
I already want to say something else.
I just need to get over it. I mean, honestly.
I don't think you need to get over it. I think fear is the brakes. When you're driving a car, and the faster you go, the more important it is to know how to use the gas and the brakes. The most expert car racers in the world use the brakes heavily. You don't want to be spinning out of control, hitting every bank around the corner. That's not fun for everyone. Fear is a healthy yellow light, red light response to say, hey, before you proceed, adjust something, because you're going to get run over and trampled. Okay. So there's some opportunity there, Tone, but you talked about the stonework lights me up. My suggestion for you would be for the next, week, show up in your morning practice, do your stonework, and then write about what you've received from it and how meaningful it is to you and how you feel. And I promise you, by the 7th day, you're going to be itching. If you don't share it on Facebook, write it to your list or do a video. You're going to be itching. Literally, your insides will be like, I got to get it out. I got to get it out. I got to get it out. That's the time. That's like when the baby's ready to be born. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like,
that's how I feel. Like, I'm 9 months freaking pregnant and it's ready to come out.
You know what? You got to enjoy that 9th month, because once the baby comes, there's a whole other set of challenges.
That is very true.
You got to enjoy each season, as I call it. And there will be lots of seasons, you know, in your business and in your life. And I feel like it's taking me a while to embrace each season. There are seasons when I feel like I'm pregnant with an idea, but it's not out and it can be uncomfortable, right? Or there is the birthing process that could be, and then everyone wants to be like in the summer, you know, when it's like sun and shining. But what about the spring when you planted all the seeds? What about the fall when you needed to integrate and really settle with everything you're doing? What about the winter when you go through the dark night of the soul to reflect on what you actually want to plant next?
Yeah.
All are important in this journey.
I love your analogies. Wow. Thank you. Like I feel, okay, I'm going to do that. 7 days.
Well, join the 5-day Master Your Life challenge that starts on July 17th, and I'll take you through that as well. And I know that Jaya will probably share a link, but it's lanashlafer.com/challenge.
Okay.
And that's what I actually do, right?
Yeah, lots of things. Well, both of you just totally resonate with me, and I'm like, love it. Thank you so much, Jaya, for choosing me to come on. I really
You're welcome. Okay, do your thing and join her challenge. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay, doll. See you soon.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Awesome. Aw, she's amazing. Love that so much. So do you want to share a little bit about your challenge while we have it up in the air?
Sure. So I've done challenges for a couple of years now and had thousands of people go through them. But this time I am doing the best challenge. Every time I improve and change things. You know what I mean? Like I've never run the same thing twice. I've never taught the same yoga class twice. I don't know how to repeat. Like I'm not a repeater. I feel like I'm the person in the Zumba class doing her own moves. I'm like adding on my own thing. So this challenge is going to be a 5-day Master Your Life challenge where I'm going to basically help you discover what you most want in your life, where you have some resistance, and how to move towards what you want in a way that's actually enjoyable and pleasurable in the journey, not just this like goal you have to make. Because the goal you have to make a lot of times is very empty. It's like the shell of what you want. Right? So how to help you actually connect to what you want, the essence of what you want, and then be able to amplify your manifesting power and leverage the law of attraction in a tangible way, not in some woo-woo out there way, but in a practical way that makes you feel better and more empowered today and gets you closer to what you want.
I love this so much. So when is your challenge?
It starts on July 17th.
Okay,
but
perfect.
I've now opened the Facebook group where people are joining. There's like 300 comments a day with everybody coming in. So it's a very exciting place right now. So definitely join now.
July 17th.
Yeah, and I'm doing a live training at the end of the 5-day challenge to take people even deeper.
Yes. Yay. I love it so much. Okay, so I have one more question for you. You ready?
Yes.
I love how much energy you bring. And I have a feeling of the feeling I would get if we were actually together. But what is it that you strive to leave people with, whether it's on this call, whether it's in a room with you or working with you, just anybody in your life that you touch them in some way? How do you hope they're going to feel?
Love.
What do you hope to give to them? Love?
I feel like actually the question is not quite, I don't know how to respond to it because I am so focused on how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you want to be inspiring, be inspired.
Yes.
And if you want to be loving, be love.
Yes.
And be loved within yourself. So I feel like I want that feeling of winning every time that if I'm not enjoying this conversation with you, I'm selective about who I do interviews with and podcasts with. If I don't resonate with a person, I'm not going to do it because I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And I feel like what I give, if anything, is permission for enjoyment. And I feel like that's love.
I love that. I think that's exactly how I would describe it right there. And it's so powerful. It really is. So thank you so much for doing your work so you can show up in the world and help them do their work.
Thank you. And I want to, before we wrap up, something that I started doing a few months ago is each time I'm on a podcast or an interview or something, I've been turning to your viewers and telling them that, like, you guys know that Jaya is doing this because she loves what she's doing. She puts in a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of attention. She's doing it because she's passionate about it. But I've been encouraging all the people listening to actually go like your page, share your videos, participate in some way. Don't just actively like consume, because you're not going to receive that much unless you find a way to really interact with it. So show Jaya some love for doing what she's doing, and that will fill you up in many ways, and will be something that will continue to reflect back to you throughout your day. Like, if you want to have more beauty and magic and manifestations and abundance and love in your life, then share that with others. Like, actually show up and give a love note. Tell somebody who said something meaningful to you, that meant something to you, that you appreciated. Share their videos. Send your friends little love texts, whatever it is, show up in your life, and certainly directed towards Jaya, who's organizing this whole thing. And I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. That's beautiful. And I agree 100%. Fantastic. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for being here. And we'll see you next time on Free Spirit Radio.